Good day, my name is Delayi Bob, and I'm your export doctor. Thank you very much for stopping by. In this video, I'm going to continue the conversation on what no one tells you about export contract. What no one tells you about export contract. I've been discussing a subsection on period, and in the last session, I discussed latest date of shipment. Today, I'll be talking about another period, and it is latest date of presentation of the shipping document. After I've shipped the goods, I need to send the shipping document to the buyer for the buyer to be able to give it to his agent in order to be able to do the requisite approval and application to clear the good at destination. So getting that document down on time is important. This section on latest date of presentation of shipping document in an export contract specifies the deadline by which the exporter must present the shipping document to the buyer. In some cases, the designated bank for payment. In some cases, the designated bank of the buyer for payment. If it's a bill for collection transaction, if it's a letter of credit transaction, if you're not aware of this payment method, you can check other videos on this platform. You will see me. I've spoken a lot about letter of credit and bill for collection. If it's a bill for collection or a letter of credit transaction, that means the document will be sent by the exporter to the buyer's bank through courier. And that courier issue of sending document was affected seriously during COVID. To the buyer's bank. This provision is critical for ensuring that the exporter fulfill their obligation regarding documentation and facilitate the smooth processing of the clearance of the export transaction of the goods shipped by the exporter in the export market. And by the way, if the payment method is advance payment or the payment method is open account, cash against document, the document can be sent directly, not to the buyer's bank, but to the buyer. If it's cash in advance, if it's cash against document or open account, the document is sent to the buyer directly. But if it's a bill for collection or letter of credit, the document is sent to the buyer's bank. The document is sent to the buyer's bank. So what are the things that should be in this section? Number one, there must be definition of the latest date of presentation. Number one. Number two, there must be listing of documents required to be presented. Number three, we must state who is responsible for this presentation. Number four, you need to state the consequences of presenting document late, consequences of late presentation. Number five, if there will be late presentation, there should be a notice to this regard. And on what basis will there be an extension of the presentation of document? Remember, if the buyer does not have this document on time, he won't be able to clear the goods. If the buyer is unable to clear the goods, we can likewise say bye-bye to that transaction. I mean, what's the usefulness? If you have done shipment, you kept the document to yourself, you didn't send it to me on time, then the good arrived, I can't clear it, I'm incurring demurrage, then you can keep the document to yourself. I need you to send the document on time. So the contract, the sixth section of the contract must clearly define the latest date by which exporter must present the shipping document to the buyer or their designated bank. This may be specified as a specific calendar date or a defined period after shipment. So, for example, in most letter of credit transaction, the latest date of shipment is usually 21 days. That's calendar days. 21 calendar days after shipment. The bill of lading will indicate the date of shipment. That's how a buyer will know if the shipment was made on time. 21. So if the shipment was done, let's say, for example, April 2nd. Okay, for example, I did a shipment April 6th. I just did a shipment on April 6th to the UK. Now, the good is even arriving in 21 days. Can you imagine? Now, see, look at this scenario. Imagine the good is arriving in 21 days. It's going to arrive in UK 27th of April. And I ship it 6th of April. Imagine not sending the document out. I hope my plan is to send the document out latest by this time next week. That's a week from now. Because it's already a week. The day I'm making this video is around 12th of April. The good left 6th of April. The only reason we have not even sent documents because we are waiting for invoice from the shipping line. Immediately get that invoice from shipping line, we're going to send pay them, get the document, bill of lading. All of that documents are ready. It's just the bill of lading that is left. Get the bill of lading, put it together, dispatch to the buyer. So that if I dispatch later by next week, in 3-4 days it will arrive. So that before the good arrive, the buyer have the shipping document. Can you see how important the latest date of presentation of document is? So define it. Number 2, list the document. What are the documents that need to be presented? The bill of lading, the invoice, the packing list, the certificate of origin, the insurance, or any other document required to clear. The contract should specify the document that the exporter is required to present to the buyer or to the buyer's bank after shipment. Then number 3, the responsibility. The contract should state that the exporter is responsible for preparing those documents and presenting this document and incurring the cost of sending them by courier, the cost of acquiring those documents from the respective agency and sending it to the buyer. This includes ensuring that the document comply with the terms. So that means it's not just going to present the document, it's to review the document and ensure the document comply with the terms they've agreed, so that if there are errors, that can be corrected before the documents are dispatched. And there should be consequences. The contract can state, in the event of delay in presentation of document, any cost incurred will be borne by the buyer. For example, demurrage cost. Any extra fee I incur will be borne by the exporter. The contract should specify the consequences of failing to present the required document by the latest date of presentation. This may include penalties or interest charges or other remedy available to the buyer, such as right to refuse payment or refuse acceptance of goods. If you are sending document to me late and have incurred demurrage, and the demurrage has made this transaction to be less, not to be profitable, I can likewise kiss it goodbye. I can likewise, if it has made the transaction not to be profitable, I can likewise kiss it goodbye and say, I am not interested. I am not interested. I can likewise kiss goodbye. Why is this important? This is very important because this is extremely important because if I go ahead, it might be at a loss to me. If I go ahead, it might be as a loss to me. And because it's going to be at a loss to me, I'm not going to take the goods. Can you see the reason why the buyer might reject the goods? And if there are going to be a delay, notify. There will be a delay by also number of days. If there is a delay in presenting, when should I present? What is the cost? And what is the, within which period can I present afterwards? And if I present late, what will be the cost? It's important you discuss all this with your buyer before you present. So you don't present document that will not be acceptable to him at the end of the day. Don't present document that will not be acceptable to him at the end of the day, because at the end of the day, if you reject the document, reject the goods, payment will not be made. Why? Because you do not comply. You have not complied with the terms and conditions agreed with your buyer in the export market. Thank you very much for stopping by again to listen to a podcast or video today on YouTube. If this video has been of enough benefit to you, please give it a thumbs up. If you have a friend that wants to sign an export contract, share with your friends. It's also important that you drop your comment for me if you have questions for me. And if you are new to Global Trade Tutor, click on the subscribe button and notification bell, so we'll let you know when we upload the next video. Thank you very much. My name is Dilayimbo, and I'm your export doctor, and I'm signing out.